in Spanish, sabra means sabra, she will know, so you'll know how this will work tomorrow. The poet Mary Oliver writes, there's some things you can't reach, but you can reach out to them and all day long. And so with our Actors Gang and the Prison Project and Homeboy Industries, the share in common is a desire to reach out to something, the creation of a community of kinship such that God, in fact, might recognize it. So all of us together, these two projects together, imagine a circle of compassion and then seek to kind of dismantle the barriers that exclude. And that's sort of the aerial view, it seems to me. So we all want to stand with the folks on the margins and the poor and the powerless and the voiceless and those whose burdens are more than they can bear, and those whose dignity has been denied. And then when you get really fortunate, you get to stand with the easily despised and the readily left out, and with the demonized, so that the demonizing will stop, and with the disposable, so that the day will come when we stop throwing people away.
Right on.
Yeah.
That's not the Actors Gang Prison Project call or Homeboy Industries call. That's our common call as human beings on the planet. I just got back from Spokane, Washington, from Gonzaga University, my alma mater. Apparently I have a book, and apparently they forced the freshman class to read it. So I went there and I brought two homies with me. Bobby, who's an African-American gang member, and Mario, Latino gang member. Both work for me. They're from enemy rival gangs. They've never been on a plane before. Mario's the most panicky homie I think I'd ever taken on. I've taken hundreds and hundreds of gang members on trips to help give talks. And he was just hyperventilating. We were at Burbank, and we're sitting by the window, and we're waiting for a plane to come southwest, and it comes, and everybody gets off. And then I see flight attendants carrying coffee onto the plane, and he goes, "When are we going to board the plane?" And I said, as soon as they sober up the pilot, I hear coffee there now. Probably shouldn't have said that, but well, we got on the plane, and I watched how everybody looked at Mario, because he's probably the most tattooed individual you'll probably meet him tomorrow. Completely tattooed, his face is almost completely covered. So people see him, and mothers clutching kids, and yet he's about the kindest human being I've ever known. I mean, kind in sort of an angelic way. The flight attendant came by and looked at him really like he was some leper. And she would hand him the peanuts, and he wouldn't just say thank you and receive them. He would take them and he'd say, "Thank you so much for peanuts," from a flight attendant. And so we go up to Spokane, and they speak in a lot of classes and lunches and things like that, telling their story, hard stories, terrible stories, abuse and violence, and the day will never come when I will have to carry what these two gentlemen have had to carry in their lives. So then there's the big talk that night, and there are 1,000 people, and it's in violation of the fire code. We're sitting on the floor, and people are standing, and I speak for 45 minutes, and then each of them comes up and tells their story, and then we have a question and answer. And a woman up front, "Yes, ma'am," and she says, "I have a question for Mario." And Mario steps up to the microphone, he's all nervous, and she says, "You mentioned that you have 2 daughters. What wisdom do you impart to your kids? What advice do you want to give to them?" And he stopped, and he didn't know what to say, and he said, and then he started to choke up, and he could barely speak, and he said, "I don't want my kids to turn out to be like me." And this woman stood up, and she said, "Why not? You are kind and thoroughly good, and you are tender and gentle. You are compassionate. You are so wise. I hope your kids turn out to be like you." And 1,000 people stood up, and they started to applaud, and they wouldn't stop. And Mario put his head in his hands, and he began to weep there up on the stage. And 1,000 total perfect strangers had decided to return this gift to himself. he had said to me when he first started to work, I have fallen in dislike with myself. These people have returned him to himself as the enlightened witnesses we're all called to be. People who through their kindness and tenderness and focused attentive love return people to themselves, to the truth of who they are. For there's an idea that's taken root in the world, it's at the root of all that's wrong with it. And the idea is this, that there just might be lives out there that matter less than other lives. Actors Gang stands against that idea. And Homeboy Industries is proud to stand with you.